Yo, what's up guys? Alright, so today I'm going to give you some tips and advice to help you become a better first-person tactical player. Now, you guys can take any of these tips and apply them to any other first-person shooter games, and I'm sure they're going to work just fine for you. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like the video and also subscribe for more content. If we get to 100 likes on this video, I will release a free key of 0 hour in the comment section, so make sure you guys tune in. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so tip number 1, listen to your environment. If you guys are listening to the environment, you're going to be able to pick up sounds that could give you some valuable information. Now, this is going to help you determine the position of your enemy. It's also going to give you the information that you can relay back to your team. That way you can all come up with a plan to execute, or you can execute a plan of your own. So make sure you guys are listening to the environment. It's always going to give you some clues that you're going to need. Next on the list, I have communication. Now, I'm not just talking about a mic and headset, because obviously you should already have that if you're trying to play these tactical games. What I mean by communication is being able to provide valuable information that your team could actually use. So instead of yelling, hey, he's over here, or hey, they're coming from over there, actually provide something with value that your team can use. Something like, hey, I have contact, second floor window. Or you can say something like, I have contact at bearing 150. You can even go as far as providing a quick description of where the enemy is located. So for example, you could say something like, they're at the closest building next to the train tracks. And obviously, if your teammates can see a train track and they see a building that's closer to it, then they're gonna know that that's what you're talking about, and that information can actually be used to formulate a plan and be a more effective unit. The next thing on my list is something that I see a lot of people doing, and you probably lose a lot of gunfights because of this issue, and that is to not look down. There is no reason why you should be running around with your gun aimed at the ground, looking at the ground, looking at the grass, looking at concrete. There's just no reason behind it, guys. So you're gonna lose a lot of gunfights, a lot of close quarter gunfights, if you guys are not ready with your gun up in the high ready position, just with your crosshairs up on the horizon, so you can look up ahead, so you can look to your sides, up above. Obviously, if you're on a staircase looking down, then look down, but do not look at the grass, don't look at the concrete while you're moving around on a map. You're just setting yourself up for failure, and the other person that's looking at you, the enemy, will already have the advantage because they're already looking at you, and by the time you pull your gun up to be able to aim down your sights, you're already dead. So this is a tip that can be applied to any shooter game that you're playing right now. Do not look down, guys. It's gonna get you killed and you're not gonna have a fun time. Alright, the next thing I have for you is learning how to pie an area. And I'm not talking about the pie that you eat at your dinner. What I'm talking about is learning how to properly clear corners, learning how to properly clear an area so that you can put yourself in a position of advantage. Now, I want you guys to understand what I'm talking about, so I'm gonna show you in the video that you're watching right now. So let's say you're at this room and you want to clear it out. Instead of just running straight in, clueless, and then getting yourself shot, you can simply clear the room from the doorway itself. So you can engage any potential threats straight from the doorway without entering inside and getting shot just because you wanted to sprint right in. Alright, if you're playing a tactical game, it's because you want to be a tactical player, you want to make smart decisions, and this is one of the smartest things that you can do so that you can stay alive and be there when your team needs you the most. Now, like I said earlier, any of these tips can be applied to any other game that you currently play. Just simply make sure you change the pace so that you can adjust to the gameplay. Moving on, you guys need to be a team player. So if you're playing an objective based game, focus on that objective. There's no need to focus on the amount of kills that you have at the end of the round. And to be honest, most of the tactical games that you play never really focus on individual stats, and you're better off just helping the team out with whatever it is that you guys have to accomplish. Continuing on, I have map knowledge. Now, the more you guys play a certain map, the more positions of advantage you're going to learn, and you're also going to be able to set up strategic attacks when you're facing an enemy. The next tip on the list is going to be to know when you need to back out of a fight. So if you're engaged in a threat and you notice that you're about to go down, then you need to just back off and reset. You'll pretty much be useless to the team if you end up dying. The next thing is going to be to play your role. So if you guys formulate a plan with your team and then the round starts, you need to make sure you stick to that task and don't go off doing something that you wanted to do on your own. If you guys want to see some really good examples of what I'm talking about, then go and watch some professional PUBG tournaments and you guys will see what I'm talking about. Next up is to know your equipment, alright? You need to know what kind of rounds you're carrying in your weapon, if it's 5.56, if it's 7.62. This stuff is all valuable for you to know so that you know where you're going to be effective against a target, alright? So for example, you don't want to be shooting at a tank with a 9mm round. So you need to know what your equipment is, what you're carrying, what gadgets do what you have on you at the moment, what you're going to need for the next round. All of these things you need to plan for so that you can be a better tactical player. Alright, the next one is one of my biggest pet peeves, and that is to learn muzzle discipline. Alright, most tactical games are going to have friendly fire enabled, so you're going to be able to kill your teammates if you don't pay attention to where you're aiming. Alright, so you need to make sure you control your muzzle at all times. If you're behind a teammate and they start getting shot at, make sure you guys are creating different angles so that you can engage the same target and prevent you killing your own teammate. Alright, this is going to save you a lot of headaches and your team is going to appreciate you. Next up on the list is going to be aware of your surroundings. So if you're playing a game like 0 Hour where you have to check your doors for booby traps, then make sure you guys are checking the doors, alright? There's no need to have unnecessary loss of health just because you don't take that extra second to be aware of your surroundings, alright? And that goes for any other game that you play as well. If you play squad and you're driving down the road, make sure you're looking out for IEDs, looking out for booby traps, anything that you guys could potentially be hurt by. Continuing on, you guys need to make sure you always have a plan. So for example, if you're approaching a building, you need to always be running scenarios through your head so that you're not caught off guard if you start getting attacked. For example, you could be telling yourself, if I get shot from that window, I'm going to run to that tree and take cover. Alright, now I know this might sound silly or a very simple tip, but I've actually been using this myself in real life for the past 8 years, and for those of you guys that don't know, I have been in law enforcement for that long, and it always helps me formulate a plan so that when I get to the scene, I actually have a course of action. The next tip is very important, and that's to avoid the fatal funnel. Alright, so if you guys don't know what the fatal funnel is, pretty much is going to be any doorway where you're easily going to be shot at and killed, or even a narrow hallway where your chances of surviving a gunfight are going to be very low. So you guys need to execute plans quickly if you're going to be at a doorway, and make sure you guys are moving through the hallways a lot faster so that you're not caught off guard at the wrong moment. With that being said, I'm not telling you guys to run. What I mean is for you guys to be a faster, methodical team when you guys are going into these CQB battles. Another tip that could potentially save your life is to know the difference between hard cover and concealment. Alright, so if you start getting shot at, you don't want to hide behind a bush. You actually want to take some cover behind a thick wall or a thick tree that can actually stop the penetration of a bullet, or at least minimize the effects. And finally, for the last tip, although this is not gameplay related, it definitely goes a long way, and that is to be respectful. Alright, most players in the tactical community are grown adults with families, and some don't have that much time to play, so don't ruin their moment. Alright guys, so that's gonna be it for these tips. I do have more to give you, but I'll save those for another video. If you have tips of your own, please drop them down in the comment section below and let me know what your thoughts are on what I said. Without further ado, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you on the next video.